So some tips on how to motivate and engage team members during sprint planning meetings. I see lots of team members who aren't engaged in sprint planning, and I do always wonder, but there are definitely some patterns. So actually the first tip, the main way of doing it is actually run sprint planning properly. Just take the time to do the job. Okay? If you are a team who use sprint planning as an opportunity to go, yeah, these are the top 12, let's go do those. Well, it's just a waste of time. I wouldn't be engaged. I probably wouldn't even turn up if I'm honest. Why would I expect anybody else to be engaged? So if you're rushing through it, you're just following step by step with no thought as to why this stuff matters. It's going to be difficult to engage somebody in a valueless meeting. So instead, what I want you to do is slow down. Okay? Take the time. This is the top 12. This fits in our team's capacity, but is it the right 12? As a team, have that conversation. Invite people in. If they don't know, you want to know why. Why is it that you're unsure? Now, are they just abdicating? In which case, we've got a motivation and a wider problem within the team. But if they're happily, yes, this is the right stuff, okay, we want to engage them in how do we solve this? This is not an opportunity for the more senior people to just take over. I don't look to one person to task everything out, design it, and say, this is what we're going to do. That's not collaborative. It's not interesting. If you have that, blunt their edge. Run things in parallel. Okay, I want you three to task that out. I want you three to task that out. I want you to do that on your own. Right? And they could be different items. They could be the same item. We're going to get 3 different options and see what happens. Create a conversation. But what I want you to do is ensure that everybody in that planning meeting knows they have the opportunity to talk. Encourage them. I don't mean demand, don't require them to talk, but encourage them to join in. Very often when we're dealing with demotivated and disengaged teams, it's not going to turn around in one meeting. It's going to be a series of meetings where they see a pattern emerge of safety. They can talk. They can be engaged. 9 times out of 10, there is somebody with a stronger personality, shall we say, who does take charge in these environments. What we need to do is dampen that down and show people that it is dampened and that they can be marshaled into being a collaborative team member. That will give opportunity for people to have a voice. And as they have a voice, they will learn that they can and that they are heard. And our role as a Scrum Master is really that. Ensure people can talk when they want to. Not must, but can. It's an invitation to join. And with that, they now have a reason to turn up because they might have a piece of the puzzle. Invite lots of different options. Okay? Very often with teams where they fall into this false convergence where they just agree with the loudest person, we'll actually invite them to either come up with different options, how else could we solve this? Or how could we undo the option on the table? What's the downside? What's the threats? I work in a world where we do work with bad actors. We create personas, we think about things from the how do we break this? How do we get around this perspective? Invite that in, see what happens. The person who created the answer is not necessarily the best person to see the downsides. Invite it in because I'm not trying to rip the work down. What I want to do is open up that conversation. This is a good, solid idea, but there are bits that give us concerns. How do we solve for those? And the people thinking about that, again, goodness, we're back in a conversation. This is what we want to do. To create engagement, they need to know why they're there. They need to believe that the reason they're coming is going to add value to the team, yes, but also to themselves. And the best way to do that is create an environment and show them it. So you're going to start by opening up these options, creating possibilities to see who engages. And I'll be honest, the first time you do it, nobody will. So sow the seeds. Go out and talk to the teams. You'll know some people are, you're passionate about this area, you know a lot, but you don't talk. How do we create that space for you to talk? And in the sprint planning meeting, you might say, right, I know John has an idea because he just messaged me. I'm going to share it. You can name them or not. Yeah, throw it in the mix. See what happens. Very often, it's going to come down to safety within the team. Do they believe that they can speak up, they can be heard? And once we've dealt with the purpose, it's going to be safety. Am I safe to say this? Or am I going to get shot down? Am I going to get ridiculed? We're really hooking in here into core human behavior. One of the key fears we have left in modern society is ostracization, is being cast out from the tribe. Right? We do not want to rock the boat in our teams because they might laugh at us, they might push us to one side. And for some of you, you may find that amusing, but actually, that's a deep rooted fear in most humans. It's left over from the days of living on planes and things where if you didn't have a group, you were as good as dead. Okay? We need to help them understand that just because they've spoken up and they've said something that might be controversial with this team, it's okay. We value their opinion. We need to create the space where they can see that so they can take tentative first steps. Don't expect them to disagree on day 1 or day 10. But over time, you want to see them offering more and more and more. And we keep encouraging that. We dampen down loud personalities who may have a tendency to take over, right? We can do that politely but firmly to give everybody an opportunity for a conversation.